So our very first painting we were going to do together in 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time is this rooster. This is the practice piece. He's not completed yet. This canvas, I do believe it's 11 by 14. It's it comes in the economy pack from Michaels. These work great when you're learning to paint because they're relatively inexpensive. I think if you get them, especially if you find them on sale, you can get these they're less than $2 a piece. So if you totally mess up, it's not a huge loss. The other thing I will share is you can paint over it. If you totally destroy a painting or you hate it, gesso over it, start again. Totally doable. There's many a canvas or painting I have that I've done that. The first lesson we're going to do in 10 minutes or less is gessoing these canvases. Why gesso when they're already pre-primed? Because they're still very thirsty. When you gesso them, give them a couple extra coats of gesso, it stops it from soaking up the paint. Therefore, it saves you money on your paint. Gesso is relatively inexpensive compared to paint, and it just provides you a better finish on your canvases. There's many people who will tell you you don't need to do that. I'm telling you, you don't have to, but it really does help. So let's get started in our first lesson on gessoing canvases. Anyways, here are 3 canvases. These are canvases that had other paintings on that I wanted to do over, but you can pretend these are brand new canvases. And we're going to gesso them. So I usually do multitudes, meaning several at once or a few at once, just because it's just a good way to, if you want to paint but you don't have a lot of time to get into a design, or you are just not, I don't know, thinking. Sometimes what I mean, I want to paint, but I haven't got a design or I can't settle on anything, then I will gesso. Now you could put this out on a piece of palette paper or a palette, but I'll go ahead and just put a bit on the canvas. This is my 2-inch craft brush. This is actually a low Cornell, but plaidonline.com has them too. They come in a packet of 3. There's a 1-inch, a 2-inch, and a 3-inch. The 2-inch is perfect for this, the 3 inches too, but sometimes you have a bit more control. And I just make sure I lay the gesso on in one particular direction. Now this is a bit much gesso for this one, so I can start putting it over here, the excess. I do go around the edges. I don't want to, the excess to go off the edge, so I kind of mop it into the center. Now you want thin layers. You don't want this gesso to be thick on there, but you do want coverage, and you just smooth it out. I will go along the edges, make sure there's no drips, and don't worry if you can still see canvas through. That's not a problem, because this is not the only coat you're going to do. You do want it thin, relatively thin, and smooth. Now you can see ridges in here, but this will lay out, meaning it will flatten out as it dries. Now I don't know if I mentioned or not, but before I started I had moistened my brush with water, and I had dried it out on my rag like that, just pressing it into it on both sides. So doing 3 or so at once just speeds up the process. And by the time I'm done with the 3rd one, if I'd had a fan in here, this one would be dry and I could go ahead and put another coat on it. Right now I did not bring my fan in or turn it on because the sound of it would have been distracting. Now this is just about enough for this one too. Pull at the ending, pull from one end to the other, just because when you start again in the middle, you see how it makes a divot. I call it a divot, or just a portion of paint. I'm going to put a little bit out on here, and then add a little bit more to my brush for this one. I don't worry about getting the sides. The only reason I go around the sides is to get any drips that may have gone over. So pull from one end, pull from one end, pull from one end. and just get the coverage. And there's a big glop there, so I'm going to smooth that out. Whoops, got on that one. And if it starts to dry, it'll start to pull up, and you don't want to do that. So just getting that there. Now I'm going to do the third one. So that's all smoothed out. Edges are non-dripped. And this will smooth out. Now, this one is not dry yet, but I'm going to come back and we'll go the other direction once it is dry. So if I'd had a fan and had it blowing on this one, this would probably have been dry by now. But that's just an extra hint if you want to hurry and get to painting. So I will stop here. No need to watch me go the other way. That's what I'm going to go across this way next time, because I'm sure you can figure that out. And just double the time it took to do the first one. I don't know what that is. I will tell you after I have reviewed this video and we saw how long it took. And put your brush into some water. Now, as you can see, that wasn't very hard and it didn't take very long. If you don't have a space indoors, you can do this. Set up a folding table in your garage or a shed or your porch or something, covered porch, to do this. And then you don't have to worry about putting it away while it dries. So that is how you gesso canvases with acrylic painting. Since we're going to go on and do acrylic painting on them, we only need them dry to the touch. But if you were going to do oil painting, you would wait 24 hours before you painted on a newly gessoed canvas. So I hope you found this helpful, and let's get to moving on to the background. I like this blue much better, and you're going to love it too. So yeah, I'll just show you to compare, just for the fun. So here's the blue and here's the brown. So you could do either one, whichever one you prefer. You could do a gray. You may have gray interior decor. So there's that. All right, let's get to the next one.